Please rise.
Lead. Halt. Right. Hey. Wait. Halt.
Please remain standing for the national anthem to be sung by Ava Tricano.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Back. Hey. Upward. Arch. 5, 2, 3, 4. 5, 2, 3, 4. 5, 2, 3, 4. 5, 2, 3, 4. Lead. Halt. Arch. Halt.
Thank you to Ava Tricano for that wonderful singing of the national anthem, and to the VFW Post 12093 for presenting the colors this morning. And now I'll call Dr. Berkeley to the microphone, please. Please be seated.
Good morning, students, families, distinguished veterans, and honored guests. Welcome to the Meadows School Veterans Day celebration. Today we gather not just to observe a holiday, but to express our profound gratitude to the men and women who have served our country and our nation with extraordinary courage and dedication. Before we go further, will you please join me now in a moment of silence as we remember those who have paid the ultimate price and who have given their lives in service to our nation, including to all of us here this morning. Thank you. As I stand here before you today, I'm reminded of President John F. Kennedy's words. He said, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest form of appreciation is not simply to utter words, but to live by them." This message resonates deeply with me. Like many American families, my own family is interwoven with military service. My great-grandfather served in World War II. My grandfather served in Korea, and my father served in Vietnam. I wear his lapel pin today to honor his courage and patriotism. Through their experiences and those who are gathered with us today, we learn that freedom isn't free. It's preserved through sacrifices of ordinary Americans who do extraordinary things. Here in Las Vegas, we have a special connection to our own military community through the Nellis Air Force Base community. Throughout the week, the sound of aircraft overhead reminds us about the dedicated service, members who train and work hard to protect this nation's interests. Nevada has a proud military heritage, with thousands of our citizens having answered the call to serve, including many from our own Las Vegas community. Today, we honor a nation of veterans, past and present, and we also honor our own local community, as well as their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, children, and families who supported them through their sacrifice and service. Here at the Meadows School, we believe that education and service are inextricably linked. We are a private institution, but we also have a very public purpose. Just this morning, our Parents Association and student ambassadors began their day serving this community by collecting gently used clothing, household items, linens, outerwear, and food items to support those in our community with the greatest need. These freedoms allow us to define education in our pursuit of excellence, to think critically, to speak freely, and to dream boldly. We're secured and protected by our nation's veterans. Their sacrifice not just gives us the right to pursue our dreams, but the responsibility to make those dreams worthy of their service. As I proudly look at all of you, our students, families, veterans, and guests today, it's an honor for us to ensure that their sacrifices continue to bear fruit through the actions and achievements of those today and future generations. Each time we individually and collectively strive for excellence, each time we help others, each time we work to strengthen our democracy and our communities, we pay tribute to the many who have served. To all our veterans here today, our very special and honored guests, and to those serving around the world, we want you to know that your courage inspires us, your sacrifice humbles us, and your dedication challenges us to be both better citizens and better human beings. You've shown us that true leadership isn't about personal glory. It's about serving something greater than ourselves. To our students, as you pursue your education and shape your future, remember that you study and grow in freedom because of the veterans we honor here on Scholar Lane today. Let their example of service inspire you to ask, not what your community can do for you, but what you can do and give back to the community that loves and serves you. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Ron Keogh, our Upper School Dean of Students, to introduce many of today's special guests. Thank you all for joining me in honoring Americans' veterans this morning. And to our veterans, on behalf of our Board of Trustees, our teachers and staff, our students, and all of the community surrounding you today, thank you. Thank you for your commitment to this country and to Americans here and everywhere, for your sacrifice, and for showing us what it truly means to lead honorable and noble lives in service to others. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Berkeley. Good morning, students, faculty, staff, and to our guests. Thank you for being here on this lovely morning, and more importantly, thank you to those of you that have served or are currently serving our community and our country. It is because each of you that we enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy today. Many of you students filled out cards with names of veterans that you want to honor. Some of the cards have been placed on the trees in the roundabout, so maybe you can take some time today, tomorrow, to see if you can find your card of the loved ones that you wanted to honor. And now, I would like to begin by introducing our distinguished guests. But before I do, everyone please stand and give all our veterans a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Distinguished guests, as I call your name, please stand to be recognized. Post 12093, Adjutant Sean Schmidt. Post 12093, Senior Vice Commander Lucky Kyle. Post 12093, Member Dante Karate. Captain Elizabeth Yisrael, parent of Madison Williams. Army Private First Class Robert Herman Silver and wife Carol Silver, along with Michael, Michelle, Malcolm, Melissa Burnett, grandfather of Maddie Burnett. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Gellinger and Linda Gellinger, parents of Tiffany Setiagian. Air Force Major Derek Fiebig and Air Force Major Aaron Fiebig, parents of Callaway Fiebig. Air Force Senior Airman Eric Chang and his wife Crystal, parents of Chloe and Caden. Air Force Major Russell Everett Kingsbury, wife Tara, parents of Jackson and Carson. Air Force Captain Neil Hoy and Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Katie Hoy, parents of Mox and Lucy Hoy. Marine Corporal James Perkins and wife Elizabeth and daughter Susan Davis, grandfather of Ramsey Davis. Chief Master Sergeant Edward Carmody, father of Elizabeth Hartunian. Air Force Tech Sergeant Bill Platt. Army Sergeant Christopher Carl Pancos Jr. Air Force Senior Airman Eric Mendez. Navy Petty Officer Second Class Timothy Roberts. Marine Corporal Ed Talley. Army Staff Sergeant Serena Haddock. And Commander Rachel Ferguson. Thank you so much for your service, and thank you for being here with us today. And now, I call Luca Thompson to the stage, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Luca Thompson, and I am incredibly proud to be the son of a Navy SEAL. Growing up, I was always inspired by the courage, discipline, and selflessness that my father demonstrated throughout his career. His commitment to service has shaped me into who I am today. And it's an honor to stand before you and speak on this meaningful occasion. As we gather here to honor and remember our veterans, I want to take a moment to reflect on the significance of the red poppy. The poppy has become a symbol of remembrance, worn to honor those who have served in the armed forces. Its origins date back to World War I, when the fields of Flanders, devastated by war, bloomed with bright red poppies. These flowers became a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of tragedy, and they are now worn on Veterans Day to remember the sacrifices made by our soldiers and to ensure that their bravery is never forgotten. Each poppy represents the lives lost, the families affected, and the enduring spirit of those who have served. It reminds us of the cost of freedom and the debt of gratitude we owe to those who have given so much for our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Luca. And up next, we have Commander Rachel Ferguson.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rachel Ferguson, Commander, United States Navy, and proud veteran. It's a privilege to be standing here before you today as a post-9/11 veteran. I was recalled back to active duty and served at the Pentagon during the events of September 11th and in the aftermath. This profound experience has greatly shaped my understanding of service and sacrifice. And today I would like to take a moment to share the history of Veterans Day, a day that resonates deeply with all of us. So Veterans Day is observed annually on November the 11th, and its roots trace back to World War I. Originally known as Armistice Day, this day marked the armistice agreement between the Allied nations and Germany, which took effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, effectively bringing an end to the hostilities of the Great War. In 1954, after World War II and the Korean War, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed legislation that changed Armistice Day to Veterans Day. This change aimed to honor all American veterans, acknowledging their sacrifices regardless of the wars they served in or the time periods of their service. This day is a time for us to come together and recognize the courage, dedication, and resilience of our veterans. Each year, various ceremonies and events take place nationwide. One of the most prominent is the laying of the wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Arlington National Cemetery, which underscores the honor and respect that we owe to those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Veterans Day is not just a day off or a parade. It's a time to reflect on the supreme sacrifices made by millions of brave men and women who have donned the uniform of our great nation. As we gather to celebrate these heroes, let us also remember the challenges they face and honor their service in our everyday lives. In closing, I urge each of you to take a moment today to thank a veteran. Whether they served in peacetime or in conflict, every veteran has played a part in the shaping of our nation. Thank you for this opportunity to share this brief history on Veterans Day, and thank you for the support of our veterans.
Thank you, Commander Ferguson. And up next, we have Chief Master Sergeant Edward Carmody.
So my daughter asked me to come up and talk to you a little bit, just to tell you a little bit about my service, my time. I served in the Air Force for 30 years. I retired in 2010. When I went in, I really thought that all I wanted to do was learn a little bit of a skill, something I could use, maybe get a little schooling, get out after 4 years and go do something else. And I was about 3 years into my career, and I was talking with a supervisor, and he talked to me about his experience. He had got the schooling that he wanted, and he got the opportunity to get the exact job that he really, really wanted. Got out, did that job for a few years, and he wasn't happy. And his wife looked at him and said, well, what do you really want to do? He said, I really want to go back and be a staff sergeant in the Air Force again. And she said, well, then do it. And that really made me reflect a lot about what I was doing, because I really enjoyed my job. I enjoyed what I was doing. And it made me understand that what I was doing was really part of something. It wasn't just a job. It wasn't just your day-to-day experience. And because a lot of times when you're in, it does seem like just a job, because you're just going to work, and you go home. Go to work, go home, just like you do in any other job. And then something happens like 9/11 or Desert Storm, which I was also part of. makes you understand that you're doing more than that. You're also there to serve your country and protect your country. And my experience during 9/11, I was actually flying when it happened. I was in the air. So I didn't see it like a lot of people did right after it happened. I got to see it on a TV after I landed in Spain. I was in Spain at the time. And we got notified a couple days later to finally leave and come home. And a lot of you too young really remember, but back then they grounded all the aircraft. There was absolutely nothing flying in the air other than military aircraft. And I'm flying back, and it's not unusual when you're flying over the ocean, you'll hear a lot of things on the radio, but when you're flying in the country, radios are going all the time. And we flew from the East Coast to the West Coast, directly over the country, and there was dead silence. There was nothing moving. It was like something, like a bomb had gone off. There was nothing going on. After that, we got a little busy and was gone a lot. My kids didn't see me a lot during that time because we were constantly flying and delivering men and materials or picking up people and bringing them back. And I got to be part of some emergency aeromedical evacuation where we actually brought wounded soldiers, airmen, Marines out of the country and brought them back home and saved their lives because we were able to turn it and do it so quickly. So during my time, I did a lot of different things. I did electronics. I taught for a while. I recruited, so I helped people join the Air Force. But my time flying was probably the most rewarding just because of what we did to help our nation and help other services do what they had to do. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick touch on what I did while I was in, and thank you.
Thank you, Chief Master Sergeant Carmody. And now, Evie DeWitt.
This is Flanders Field by Colonel John McCrae. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep through poppies grow in Flanders Field.
And now with our closing remarks, here's Associate Head of School, Joe Carver.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day. And it's a beautiful day to gather. It's a beautiful day to honor and celebrate. And it's a beautiful day to remember. So thank you for being part of that. I'd like to just take a moment to thank the students of the Meadows School who helped in the crafting of today's program and participated in it. Thank you. I'd also like to thank Dean of Students Albert Ronquillo for the planning of this event. I'd like to remind all of our guests that there's a reception in your honor in the building behind you after we dismiss. And finally, I would just like to thank all of the veterans who are here, who could not be here, for their graciousness, their servitude, their kindness, their patience, and for providing us the blanket of freedom that allows us to gather on a day like today. So thank you.
Could we have one more round of applause for all of our veterans who are currently serving or who have served? Thank you. This concludes our ceremony for today. Faculty, would you please lead us out? Upper school students, you're dismissed. And middle school students. For our distinguished guests, please follow Mrs. Berkeley into our multipurpose room for our reception. Thank you so much for being here.